Now, bloggers, social media influencers and online platforms will now have to apply for a license and pay a fee of $930 if they want to keep their sites up. Content producers will have to provide a list of details such as funds and tax certificates and investments in order to get accreditation. Now, internet cafes are also reportedly expected to install surveillance cameras to record activities inside their business premises. Now, the law gives the government the right to revoke a permit if a site publishes content that leads to public disorder and threatens national security. Now, this may include content that is indecent, obscene, has hate speech, extreme violence, or material that will offend or even cause annoyance. Users could face at least 12 months in prison and a fine of $2,300. Now, this is the latest move in the country's broader crackdown on the media. Tanzania's President, John Magufuli, has a zero-tolerance policy for any criticism of him or his government. Since he came to power in 2015, private-owned radio stations and newspapers have been suspended. New laws have also come into place for tighter control over the internet. And a well-known case is Maxence Melo. He's the founder of Jamii Forums, a website for whistleblowers. He's been prosecuted under the 2015 Cybercrimes Act for stories that expose cases of alleged corruption involving companies close to the government. Now, there's no clarity as to how the new regulations will be enforced or how they will impact citizens' rights online. But activists argue that it will restrict freedom of expression and human rights. Reporters Without Borders ranks Tanzania 83rd out of 180 countries for press freedom, nicknaming the country the bulldozer of media. We heard from their representative.
Foreign editors and journalists are regularly subject to criminal proceedings. So this new online regulation is just another step further in a context of significant deterioration of press freedom in Tanzania.
And another issue is whether people can afford to pay the $930 fee. Now, according to a 2017 overview by the World Bank, Tanzania has sustained relatively high economic growth over the last decade, but 12 million people still live in extreme poverty with earnings less than 60 cents a day. Now, Juliet Nankufa from the International ICT Policy for East and Southern Africa says that this will have an impact on bloggers in the country.
We are likely to see a decline in the number of online publishers in Tanzania. This is primarily due to the hefty fees associated with the regulations, which will largely be mostly unaffordable for many of the users in the country.
And we posed these concerns to the Tanzanian government. This is what their spokesman had to say about the new regulations.
The new content regulations are very, very important as due to technological advancement and the convergence of technology, where a mobile phone can be a broadcast equipment. We needed these regulations to protect those who were being victim of slurs and every kind of issues that one person could decide to do without abiding by the law.
So what do you think about this latest law in Tanzania? Get in touch with us on Twitter. Use the hashtag AJNewsGrid.